I was talking to a CEO just the other day,
Yeah.
and they were saying how their biggest fear is like their company getting left behind in
Mm.
this like crazy, fast-paced world of tech.
Yeah.
Especially with AI advancing so rapidly. It's like
Yeah.
trying to hit a moving target, and I think that fear is something that a lot of business leaders share, right?
It's definitely true. And it's not just fear. I think it's a reality. Every week that goes by without adapting to the digital landscape has a ripple effect. It puts companies further and further behind.
Exactly. It's not just
Mhm.
about keeping up with the Joneses anymore. It's about survival, really.
Yeah.
But where do you even begin? That's where this business transformation success map comes in. You can think of it as like your personalized roadmap, guiding you through the often overwhelming world of digital transformation.
Yeah, and like any good roadmap, it helps break down the journey into manageable stages. The first stage, strategic vision, is all about setting the right foundation. And it starts with tuning in to the current landscape and ends with crystallizing a clear, actionable strategy.
Okay, so let's unpack this strategic vision stage a bit.
Mm.
Many companies, especially smaller ones, they kind of get stuck right out of the gate. They have the desire to transform, but actually making it happen feels like climbing Mount Everest, right? What are some of the common roadblocks that they face?
Well, I think one of the biggest hurdles is what we call the capability gap. It's basically the difference between where a company's digital skills are now and where they need to be to compete effectively. A lot of organizations simply lack the in-house expertise to even begin implementing things like AI or advanced
Right.
analytics.
So it's like being asked to build a rocket ship when you've only ever ridden a bicycle, right? I
Exactly.
can see how that would be paralyzing for a lot of companies.
Yeah, and this lack of expertise often goes hand in hand with a struggle to attract and retain top tech talent, which further widens the gap, of course.
Right. It becomes a vicious cycle. And then even if you have a vision and the talent, there's the issue of actually getting it done. I
Mm.
imagine a lot of companies struggle with having enough bandwidth, right, to
Hmm.
dedicate to such a massive undertaking.
Absolutely. That's the capacity gap. Teams are already stretched thin,
Yeah.
juggling multiple priorities. So it's incredibly difficult to carve out the time and resources needed for a full-scale transformation when you're constantly putting out
Right.
fires.
And to top it all off,
Yeah.
you need significant financial resources to fuel this transformation, right?
Right.
Bringing in expensive consultants, investing in new technologies, it all adds up.
Yeah, that's where the cash gap comes into play. High-end consulting fees can be astronomical,
Mm.
especially for smaller businesses. And even if you manage to secure the budget, there's immense pressure to see a quick return on that investment.
Right. It's like needing to climb Mount Everest, but only having enough money for a pair of sneakers.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned that companies need things like digital platforms and AI to stay competitive, but they often lack the capability to even implement them. It's a real catch-22, isn't it?
It is. And what's really fascinating is that these three gaps, capability, capacity, and cash, they're often interconnected. So let's take the example of a company that's, trying to adopt AI. They might lack the internal expertise to develop AI solutions, which forces them to rely on expensive external consultants, right? This drains their already limited budget, further limiting their ability to invest in training or hiring to bridge the capability gap. It becomes a downward spiral.
So what are companies doing to try to break free from this cycle? They must be trying something, right?
Well, many resort to what we might call traditional solutions. Hiring those pricey consultants is one option. But as we discussed, that's often unsustainable in the long run. Another approach is to try and build those capabilities in-house. But that takes time, resources, and a level of expertise that might not be readily available.
And then there's the approach of trying to patch things up with individual solutions, right? Buying a shiny new software here, a cutting-edge gadget there, hoping it'll magically fix everything.
The point solution trap, yeah. It's tempting because it feels like you're taking action, but it often creates more problems than it solves. You end up with a fragmented tech landscape, increased complexity, and the underlying issues remain unaddressed.
It's no wonder that we see such a high failure rate with business transformations, a staggering 90% according to some studies. But it's important to note that this isn't about pointing fingers. It's a systemic problem rooted in outdated approaches.
Absolutely. Traditional methods simply aren't designed for, the complexities of today's digital world. But there is a way forward. Remember that business transformation success map we talked about? It offers a framework for navigating these challenges. strategically and effectively.
So let's dive into that map a little bit. You mentioned the strategic vision stage.
Right.
With tune in as the crucial first step, how does the map help companies successfully navigate this starting point?
Well, tuning in is about it's about taking a long, hard look in the mirror and honestly assessing your current state. It involves gathering data, analyzing market trends,
Hmm.
and understanding your internal dynamics. Are you truly aligned with what's happening in the market? What are your core strengths and weaknesses?
So it's about cutting through the noise
Hmm.
and getting a clear picture of where you stand, basically. It sounds simple enough, but I bet this is where a lot of companies stumble, right?
Yeah, you're right. One common pitfall is getting bogged down by information overload. There's so much data out there that it's easy to get overwhelmed and miss the signals that truly matter.
Paralysis by analysis, as they say. You see a mountain of data and just freeze up. What are some other challenges that companies face during this tune-in phase?
Well, another common struggle is a lack of clarity about their own business dynamics. They might have a vague sense of what they do well and what needs improvement, but they haven't taken the time to really define,
Yeah.
their core strengths and weaknesses.
Mhm.
Without that clarity, it's impossible to formulate a targeted and effective transformation strategy.
So you're saying it's not just about looking outward at the market, it's also about looking inward at yourself.
Exactly. And finally, many companies struggle with identifying clear next steps after the tune-in phase. They might have a better understanding of their current state and the market landscape, but they're not sure what to do with that information. It's like standing at the base of Mount Everest with a map, but no climbing gear or a plan for how to reach the summit.
Okay, so the tune-in phase sets the stage, but it's just the beginning of the journey. What happens next on the roadmap?
The next step on the business transformation success map is set targets. This is where we move from assessment to action, defining clear, inspiring, and crucially achievable goals for the transformation.
Setting goals that are grounded in reality but still ambitious enough to drive real change. What are some of the common pitfalls that companies encounter in this stage?
I think one of the biggest challenges is misalignment. Different departments might have conflicting goals, or individual goals might not align with the overall transformation vision. This leads to wasted effort, internal conflict, and a loss of momentum.
Right, it's like everyone's rowing in a different direction, and the boat goes nowhere fast. What else trips companies up when setting targets?
Another common mistake is setting unrealistic expectations. While it's important to be ambitious, aiming for goals that are simply impossible to achieve can be incredibly demoralizing for teams. It leads to frustration, burnout, and a sense
Power down.
that the entire transformation effort is doomed to fail.
Right, so it's about finding that sweet spot between ambition and achievability. What else do companies need to be mindful of during this set targets phase?
I'd say the final piece of the puzzle is accountability. It's not enough to simply set goals. You need to have clear mechanisms in place
Right.
to track progress, identify roadblocks, and ensure that everyone is pulling their weight. Without accountability, things fall through the cracks, and progress grinds to a halt.
Okay, so we've tuned into the landscape
Hmm.
and set some realistic yet ambitious targets. What's the next step on this transformation roadmap?
The final step in the strategic vision stage is crystallized strategy. This is where we take that inspiring vision we've developed and translate it into a concrete, actionable plan.
Right, so we're talking timelines, resources, specific actions, the nitty-gritty details of how we're going to make this transformation happen. But knowing how often things go awry, I'm guessing this step isn't a walk in the park either, right?
You're absolutely right. One of the biggest challenges companies face during this stage is turning those high-level aspirations into a clear, actionable plan. They might have a grand vision for the future, but they struggle to break it down into concrete steps and timelines for implementation.
Right, it's like having a blueprint for a beautiful house, but no construction crew or materials to actually build it. What are
Yeah.
some other common obstacles that companies face when crystallizing their strategy?
Well, another challenge is misaligned priorities. Different departments might have competing interests, leading to confusion, wasted resources, and a weaker overall strategy.
Right, it's like everyone is building their own little section of the house without any coordination, and you end up with a jumbled mess instead of a cohesive structure.
A very apt analogy. And finally, Even with a well-defined plan, you need buy-in from key stakeholders, especially those at the top. Without their support, even the best strategy is likely to falter.
So it's not just about having a plan on paper. It's about making sure that everyone is on board and invested in its success. We've covered a lot of ground, highlighting the challenges inherent in each step of building a strategic vision for transformation.
It's certainly not easy, but having a roadmap like the Business Transformation Success Map helps you anticipate these challenges and approach them strategically.
It gives you a framework for thinking through the complexities and breaking them down into manageable pieces, but it still feels like a daunting task, especially with those critical gaps we talked about. Is there any way to overcome these obstacles and make this transformation journey a little less treacherous?
That's where things get really interesting. Remember how we discussed that companies need AI to stay competitive, but often lack the expertise to implement it?
Right.
Well, what if AI could be the bridge that helps us overcome those very gaps?
Okay, now you've got my attention. That sounds almost too good to be true. Are you saying that AI can actually help companies transform themselves, even if they don't have like a ton of in-house expertise?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We're seeing this new wave of AI solutions that are specifically designed to be partners in the transformation journey, not just the end goal.
So instead of AI being this distant, complex thing
Yeah.
only big tech companies can handle, it's becoming accessible to businesses of all sizes.
Precisely. And it's not just about accessibility. It's about making the process smarter and more efficient. You can think of it like having a digital transformation coach.
Right.
Right by your side, guiding you every step of the way.
Oh yeah, I like that analogy. But how does that actually work in practice? Can you give me a specific example of how like an AI-powered platform might function as a transformation coach?
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Let's go back to the tune-in phase we talked about earlier. Imagine an AI platform that analyzes your business data, scans the market for emerging trends, and even benchmarks your performance against your competitors.
So it's like having a superpowered research assistant, but instead of just handing you a stack of reports, it pulls out the key insights and presents them in a way that's easy to understand.
You got it. And it goes beyond just presenting information. This AI coach can identify potential areas where, your vision might be misaligned with market realities and even suggest ways to adjust your course.
So you're not just relying on gut feelings or guesswork anymore. You're making data-driven decisions right from the start. That's a game changer, especially for businesses that might be feeling overwhelmed by the sheer volume of information out there.
Exactly. It cuts through the noise and helps you focus on the signals that truly matter. Remember that information overload we discussed?
Yeah.
AI can be a powerful antidote to that.
Okay, so AI can help with the tune-in phase, but what about setting targets? That seems like a very human-centric process, right? How can AI contribute to that?
It might seem counterintuitive, but AI can actually make goal setting more data-driven and objective. Instead of relying solely on past performance or intuition, an AI platform can analyze historical data, market trends, and even, competitor strategies to recommend targets that are both ambitious and realistic.
So you're not just pulling numbers out of a hat, basically. You're grounding your goals in real-world data and insights.
That's right. And it goes beyond just adjusting numbers. AI can also help ensure that your targets are aligned with your overall transformation vision. It can analyze your strategic plan, identify key dependencies, and flag any potential conflicts or inconsistencies between different goals.
So it's like having a built-in checks and balances system, making sure everyone is rowing in the same direction and that the transformation stays on track.
A perfect analogy.
Yeah.
And let's not forget about accountability. We talked about how important it is to track progress and ensure that everyone is pulling their weight. AI can be a powerful ally in that area as well.
Right. So AI isn't just about coming up with a plan. It's about helping you execute that plan effectively.
Exactly. You can think of it as a digital accountability partner. An AI platform can track progress towards those targets in real time, identify potential roadblocks, and even flag areas where individual teams or departments might be falling behind.
So it's like having a project manager who's always on top of things, but without the need for endless meetings and status updates.
That's a great way to put it. And because it's all data-driven, it takes the emotion and subjectivity out of performance evaluations. You're not relying on personal opinions or biases. You're looking at the hard facts.
Okay, I'm starting to see how AI can be a game changer for setting targets and staying accountable. But what about crystallizing strategy, that last step in building a strategic vision? That seems like the most complex part of the process, right?
Mhm.
How can AI possibly help with that?
That's where AI's ability to analyze vast amounts of data and identify patterns becomes truly invaluable. Can help you pinpoint the most impactful actions to take, prioritize those actions based on their potential ROI,
Mm.
and even suggest specific timelines and resource allocation.
So it's like having a strategic planning consultant working right alongside you, helping you create the most effective roadmap
Yeah.
for your transformation journey.
You've got it. And remember that challenge of misaligned priorities we talked about.
Yeah.
AI can be a powerful force for alignment, ensuring that all actions and initiatives are clearly linked to your overarching strategic goals.
Right. So it's like having that built-in alignment checker we discussed earlier,
Yeah,
making sure that everyone is moving in the same direction.
exactly. And it can also help mitigate the risk of, vague strategies or plans without clear timelines or ownership. AI can assist in breaking down those large, complex goals into smaller, more manageable tasks, assigning clear responsibilities and deadlines for each step of the process.
So it's not just about creating a plan. It's about creating a plan that is actually executable, trackable, and crucially likely to succeed.
Precisely. And that's what any business transformation should aim for, right?
Yeah.
Not just change for the sake of change, but change that drives meaningful and sustainable growth.
Now, this all sounds incredibly promising, but I think it's important to acknowledge that the AI is not a magic bullet. It's a powerful tool, but it needs to be used wisely and strategically.
You're absolutely right. AI is not a replacement for human expertise, judgment, or creativity. It's a tool that can augment and enhance those human capabilities, but it can't replace them entirely.
So it's about finding that sweet spot, that balance between human and machine intelligence. What are some of the key things that companies need to keep in mind when incorporating AI into their transformation efforts?
I think the most important thing is to have a crystal clear understanding of what you want to achieve with AI. What are your specific goals? What problems are you trying to solve?
You need to have a clear vision of where you want to go
Yeah.
before you start relying on AI to get you there.
Exactly. You wouldn't get in a car and start driving without knowing your destination, would you?
Right.
The same applies to AI.
That makes perfect sense. What else do companies need to be mindful of?
Well, it's crucial to remember that AI is only as good as the data it's fed. Garbage in, garbage out, as the saying goes.
So data quality is paramount.
Absolutely. If your data is inaccurate, incomplete, or inconsistent, your AI initiatives are likely to fall flat. You need to make sure your data is clean, organized, and relevant to the problems you're trying to solve.
Okay, data quality, check. Anything else?
Finally, and perhaps most importantly, don't forget the human element. Business transformation is ultimately about people. It's about empowering individuals, teams,
Okay.
and entire organizations to embrace change and thrive in a rapidly evolving world.
Right. It's about creating a culture that embraces learning, experimentation, and yes, even making mistakes along the way.
Yeah,
Because mistakes are inevitable, right?
absolutely. Mistakes are opportunities for learning and growth. A culture that punishes failure will only stifle innovation and hinder the transformation process.
So it's not just about implementing new technologies. It's about transforming the way people think and work.
Exactly. It's about shifting mindsets, fostering collaboration, and empowering individuals to take ownership of the transformation journey.
Which brings us back to this idea of AI as a partner, not just a tool. How can companies ensure they're using AI in a way that complements and enhances human capabilities rather
Yeah.
than replacing them?
That's a great question. And it leads us perfectly into our next discussion.
So we've talked about, the power of AI to analyze data and streamline processes, but I'm curious about the human side of things, right? How can AI actually help us create like a more engaging and supportive environment for employees during this often tumultuous transformation journey.
Yeah, that's a crucial aspect that's often overlooked, I think. AI can be incredibly helpful in, personalizing the transformation experience for each employee.
Personalization. What does that actually look like in this context?
Well, think about it. Instead of a one-size-fits-all training program, AI can be used to tailor learning paths based on an individual's role, their skills, and their learning style. It's like having a personalized tutor guiding you through the process.
Right. So you're not just thrown into the deep end and
Mhm.
expected to sink or swim. You're given the support and resources you need to succeed at your own pace.
Exactly. AI can also be used to provide personalized feedback, identify knowledge gaps, and recommend specific resources like online courses or mentorship programs.
Right. So it's like having a digital mentor
Yeah.
who's constantly assessing your progress
Mhm.
and offering tailored guidance along the way. That can be incredibly empowering for employees.
Absolutely. And this personalized approach, it goes beyond, just skills development. AI can also help foster a more inclusive and supportive work environment.
How so?
Well, for example, AI-powered tools can be used to, analyze communication patterns and identify potential biases or areas where, certain groups might be feeling excluded.
So it's like having a built-in diversity and inclusion consultant,
Hmm.
helping to create a more equitable and welcoming workplace for everyone.
That's a great way to put it. And this ties back to, what we discussed earlier about the human element of transformation. It's not just about implementing new technologies. It's about creating a culture
That's right.
where everyone feels supported, valued, and empowered to contribute their best work.
Absolutely. So we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive. We started by acknowledging the very real fears, right, that many business leaders have about falling behind in this era of rapid technological change. We explored the common challenges that companies face, and
Yeah.
attempting to transform, right?
Yeah.
Those critical gaps in capability, capacity, and cash.
We did. We also discussed how traditional approaches often fall short in addressing the complexities of digital transformation,
Yeah.
leading to that dishearteningly high failure rate. But then we shifted gears, and we explored how AI can be a powerful ally in this journey.
Right. Not just as a technology to be implemented, but as a partner, a guide, a coach. That
Yeah.
can help us navigate
Yeah.
each stage of the transformation process, right? Starting with building a strong strategic vision.
We saw how AI can help us tune in to the landscape, set targets that are both ambitious and achievable, and crystallize those aspirations into a concrete, actionable strategy. We even
Right.
talked about how AI can personalize the experience for employees, creating a more engaging and supportive environment for everyone.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one key message you want our listeners to take away?
Don't be afraid to embrace the power of AI. I would say it's not a threat. It's an opportunity. It's a tool that can empower you to achieve things you never thought possible. But remember, AI is not a magic bullet. It's a journey, and like any journey, it requires careful planning, the right tools, and most importantly, a willingness to embrace change.
It's about finding that synergy
Yeah.
between human ingenuity and technological advancement. It's about using AI to augment our capabilities, not replace them.
Well said. It's an exciting time to be in business. The possibilities are truly limitless for those who are bold enough to embrace the power of AI and use it to shape a better future.
Absolutely. This has been a fascinating exploration, and I'm sure our listeners are feeling inspired and equipped to tackle their own transformation journeys. So thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of AI and business transformation. We'll see you next time.